G'day folks and welcome to Australian UFO Sightings official podcast. I'm your host Anthony Goodall and you're listening to Encounters Down Under. Here we invite guests on the show to tell us about their encounters with aliens and UFOs, where most of our episodes were streamed live from our Facebook page, which gave listeners the opportunity to ask questions to our guests regarding their encounter. If you have had an encounter and would like to be a guest on the show, please get in touch with us. You can send us a message through our Facebook page, Encounters Down Under, or send us an email at australianUFOsightings@outlook.com.au. Be sure to join us on Facebook and share with your friends and family to help us grow, and hopefully encourage others to come forward with their encounter. If you're an iTunes listener and a fan of the show, why not give us that 5-star rating and review, and you could have your review featured on the podcast. But enough of that, let's get into what you've been waiting for. So kick back, relax with your favourite beverage, and enjoy the show. G'day Phil, welcome to the show, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Mate, it's great having you on the show, mate. You've got in touch with me here about some really wonderful experiences you've had here, and like absolutely amazing. It's got me really intrigued on what you've had here. So look, mate, I'm going to let you go and take the wheel here, and let you take the wheel and tell us what you've got, mate. Show us what you got.
Okay, so well, there's only been two, proper, real, as you'd say, really weird ones. But the first one was in about 1975, and lived at an old weatherboard cottage at Richmond Hill, which is up on the hill above Lismore. And my girlfriend and I lived there, and she would work at Lismore on a Thursday night. So I went down there on Thursday night and picked her up, and came back up the side of the house, which is just up there on its own. No other cottages around there. Up the driveway, and just got into the backyard, and just noticed the dogs weren't barking, because we had two dogs on the veranda, an open veranda, which couldn't get out, but usually they'd bark their heads off when we come up. Anyway, so all was just normal. We got out of the car, and as we got out of the car, this bright red light just shone down on the car. The whole roof of the car was illuminated. We were illuminated. And it was just a shock. And before we could even say, shit, look at that, because we were both looking at it, we looked up, and there's this big red ball, probably the size of a full moon above us. I don't know how high it was, but it wasn't real high. And we just looked at it for probably 2-3 seconds, and then tonk, gone. Just completely gone. So we thought, oh, shit, that's weird, Anyway, so the dogs were still not barking. We thought, we better go and get up there and see what's wrong with the dogs. So we go up there. They're okay, but they were just sort of, wandering around real sheepish. And, so then we went inside and trying to work out what that was. And then after a while, we turned the telly on. The telly wouldn't work. And it wasn't an old TV, it was fairly new. And we thought, oh, what the hell's going on here? So then, not much else happened, but I put the TV into repair guy. And now I don't know. I'm sure he said to me, he said, that's really strange. Your crystal's burned out. I don't even know what a crystal is in an old colour TV. I've never heard of it. But anyway, he said, I've never seen that before. And I said, okay, no worries. Anyway, fixed it, and that was that. So that was that sighting. That's right. And then there was no internet in those days, so I got hold of a paper. I don't know which one it would have been. I just sort of scanned through it to see if anyone would have seen something. But I noticed there was a thing that happened that night down in Melbourne, round about the same time, and it said something like they didn't know what it was. Something crashed into people's roofs in Melbourne. And it was that hot that it made the TV antennas fuse to the roof. So it melted aluminium, yeah. I don't know if that's something to do with it or not, but I just thought, well, there you go. Could have been, I suppose.
Yeah, it's possible.
So that's basically, that's that event.
Yeah, so just on that, did you happen to take notes of the time of what it was? Is there potentially any missing time or anything like that?
We didn't have any missing time, but, it would have been the shops up there, I forget now, but I think they would have shut about 8:30 or something like that. So it would have been probably 9 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah, okay. And so the dogs weren't phased or worried about anything at all? Like, they weren't even concerned about you coming home, really?
They were just not their normal behaviour, because every time we drive up that driveway, if they're locked on that veranda, they'd be yapping, yeah, come on, come and get us, there you go. But nothing. So that was sort of weird, just odd in the way they were just sort of skunking around the place. Yeah, so that was a bit odd too.
Yeah. So do you sort of think like obviously you would have had time to like sort of think about what's actually
Yeah.
happened? Like, what are your thoughts of actually what sort of
I
happened?
don't, mate, I don't know what it was. All I know, it was no flare, because I know what flares are, and this wasn't a flare. It wasn't there when we drove up the driveway, and then 2 seconds later, when we got out the door, this thing was hanging above us and shining a light straight on the car. So I don't know what it was, but there was no noise, nothing, and that was it. Just a big red ball, bright, you know.
Yeah. So what about the rest of your electronics throughout the house? Like everything else is working fine, like the car as
Yeah,
well, no issues there?
well, nothing with the car that I can know. Nothing, I would have remembered or anything else, but just the dogs, the TV, and this light, and that was about it, really.
Yeah, okay. So you had your wife, did you say you had with you as well?
No, no, girlfriend, mate.
Oh, sorry, girlfriend. Yep. So what was her sort of thoughts on like what from her
Well,
perspective
we,
did she
we were
sort of say?
just sort of, like perplexed. We go, well, what was that? And because the dogs were acting weird, that sort of you think, well, what is going on? And then the TV didn't work. We didn't know it was a crystal at the time. What I still know what that is. But anyway,
Yep.
because that wasn't, we sort of think, oh, shit, what else is going to happen here tonight? And, just sort of cruised off into the night. But next day, everything was normal and that. So but as I say, I looked in the paper and saw that thing at Melbourne. And I sort of tried to put two and two together. I thought, well, maybe that was something to do with it. I don't know. Sort of roughly the same time at night. Would have broken speed record to get down there at that time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But there could have also potentially been another craft that's going around if it was a craft of some sort. You know, it's a few different theories that could have put in possible.
It's nothing from nothing man-made. Put it that way. Whatever that was, I don't know what it was, but it wasn't. We were. There's nothing that I could think of. No helicopter, no plane, no nothing. It wasn't. It's there, shining a bright red light on the car. You got out, you bathed in light. That's what made you look up, because like there's a red glow on everything. What's that? Look up and there's this thing in the sky.
Yeah,
Strange.
so you didn't see any like sort of structure to any craft or anything like that. It was just the glow of the light that just
That one there,
drowned you out.
that one there, that was just a red ball. That's it.
Yep.
That's all it was. Yeah.
No, that's incredible. That's amazing. Like I'm surprised. Like usually, when people get sort of bathed in light, there's something that's a bit more happening in their experience. You know, like I said, like I was trying to say, like missing time that could have happened, but
Mm,
obviously nothing of that sort of nature happened.
no.
And even just in general, like just getting something scanning you. Maybe I don't know. It's
Well,
strange.
I'll tell you another strange thing. Now, this probably not connected to it. I don't know. But my brother, he's a bit of a what do you call it? Technological sort of freak, sort of good buys all different gadgets and stuff. Well,
Yep.
one time, this is years later, he had this Geiger counter and he mucked around and he said, "Come here and I'll scan you." And he scanned me. He said, "Holy shit!" He said, "Your right hand side's bloody radioactive or something." I said, "Bullshit." He said, "No, look, yeah." He said, "Say the other side," and the other side was okay. So I said, "Well, I can't think of anything that happened to me on that side except for perhaps getting more red light on it than the other side. I don't know." And I don't know how long, if you've got radiation, how long that lasts. Someone said, "Oh, it only lasts a couple of weeks or something." No, this was years over. But I don't know
Yeah.
if that's to do with it or not.
Yeah. It still leads to possibilities of anything really because we still don't understand what the hell is going on. Even just trying to understand what the whole point of having that red light beaming on you and
Yeah, crazy.
what's the concept behind that? You know, why?
But what gets me is it wasn't there as I was driving up the driveway. Because it's all pitch black up there. I would have seen this
Yeah.
light from the car driving up there, but no, nothing was there. It was just when we got out.
Yeah. Did you sort of take notice if it was glowing like in your immediate area, or was it sort of glowing the whole environment as well?
Just the car, just us in the car. Everything else around us was all just same dark.
Yeah.
So it was. I didn't see a light beam coming down, but that's what it seemed like. We were
Yeah.
just bathed in red. Nothing else was.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? It just makes you wonder what the hell that was all about.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Crazy.
nothing sort of missing in the house or anything like. I'm just like I'm
No,
trying to come up with ideas here of like could they
yeah.
have sort of snooped around your house or something that could have
Well,
been of interest to them?
they could have. I mean, that's maybe the dog. I don't know why the dogs were quiet. I mean, it wasn't shining on the veranda, but something made them just shut up. So you don't know.
Yeah, no, look, it just leads to so many questions with unfortunately
Yeah.
no answers. So, look, tell us about the second one you had. This one,
Right.
you
Well,
mentioned.
this
Look,
one
this one
here.
seems pretty good.
This one's pretty out there. So okay, just over the last 10 years or so, I was out of a job and took up cleaning. Commercial cleaning with a cleaning company doing schools, and with a friend, and also my sister did it as well. So we were cleaning schools for the last 10 years of when I was working, and for the last year we all got shifted to another school, which was Mullumbimby, right? Because we come from Ballina, so we'd clean the Mullumbimby school, high school, and so every day we'd go there, leave Ballina at about 4, or a bit before 4, start up at there, get to Mullum at about 4:30. So it'd be probably 3:45 we'd leave, get up to Mullum about 4:30, go in there and start cleaning, leave at 8 a.m. Or 8:30, come home, and then go back again in the afternoon. So that stretch of road there, it's a Pacific Highway, and it's dual lane on both sides. And we did it plenty, twice a day for a year. So that's a lot of travel on that road. So anyway, and everything's always been just always just to drive up there and all that. But this particular morning, there was 3 of us in the car, me and my sister in the front seat, and a mate who was also a cleaner with us in the back. So we'd pick him up, and we'd travel up there. So so now this is about 4:15 approximately, and it's in 2018. I can't exactly tell you the month and that now, but I think it was roughly in winter or somewhere around there. Anyway, so I don't know if you know that road, but so when you leave Ballina, you travel on the highway, and you end up going through a couple of tunnels, which is at the back of Byron there. It goes through a hill. Anyway, so we're going north. There's 2 lanes. We're in the left lane. We go through the tunnels, and as you go through the tunnel, you go along a fair bit of road there, and there's a couple of scattered houses, and then there's just all cow paddocks on the left. I'm talking about. And a lot of that, the trees are fairly thick and all that, but you come along this little spot there, which I didn't even take any notice until this has all happened, where there's the tree line's only a lot thinner. There's only about 4 or 5 or 6 thin sort of trees there in that spot. And that there, so we're coming along, just driving, talking. I don't know if we're talking. We didn't have the radio on. And so my sister and I in the front, he's in the back. And this, on the left there, up ahead, just behind the trees, a light come on. And I thought, oh shit, there's a house there. I didn't know there's a house there. Now this is right up next to the trees. So you got the road, you got a barbed wire fence, you got a single line of trees, and this thing's just behind. So a light come on like a window. Oh shit, okay, so we just kept driving. This all happened in a pretty quick succession, so it's not a long thing. So anyway, and then another light come on. That's fine, still driving. Then all of a sudden, this thing just starts rising up in the air, just goes up, and it goes up to the top of the trees and comes across the top of the road. So now we're just about heading underneath the thing, and I've drawn a picture of it and show you in a second. And you can see the outline of the craft, and on the tip of it, which I assume was the front part, was a light, and the light was white, a round light, and then it went red, and then it went green, and as soon as it went green, boom, the whole thing's gone. Now this thing was as big as a house. I'll show you a drawing of it. This is a really rough sketch, right? So can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, so there's supposed to be windows there, right? That's the rough shape of it, and that thing at the end there, that's the light, round light on the front.
Okay.
Right? So that's sort of what it looked like, but and it didn't light. The whole thing wasn't bathed in light. You could see the outline of it to see what shape it was. You could see the white, red, and green light at the front, and you could see the windows, and that's it. But it was big. This is a huge, big thing. And the weird thing about it all is, right, there was no cars or trucks on the road. That's the first thing. Second thing is, it was pretty close to the road. I mean, they could have gone off over the paddock somewhere right over the back anywhere, and no one would have known they were there. So they've obviously pulled in right up there close to the road for some reason. And if they had waited another minute, we'd have been gone by. I wouldn't have known they were there. If we'd have gone by before they turned the lights on, wouldn't have a clue. So they turned it on when we were coming along, went up over us while we were underneath, and then took off. And you just sort of wonder, number one, what are they doing there? Number two, who are they? What are they? Number three, why didn't they just wait until we'd gone? They could have gone off with no one knowing the difference. And, it's just sort of crazy. But if you ever had any doubts about what's going on, well, I'll tell you what, that just gets rid of any doubt at all. There's just no two ways about that thing being some sort of big ship. And it just, no noise. Well, we had the car going, couldn't hear any noise, couldn't see any flame, nothing. Just that ship lift up. I just wish that had a dash cam. If I'd had a dash cam going then, right, we would have all seen it. They could have analysed it, done whatever they liked. That would have been just good. But, there you go.
I can pretty well guarantee that dash cam wouldn't have been working that time.
I get a bit goosebumpy when I tell people about it because sort of it just brings it back. And I just sort of wonder, well, I'd like to know what the hell was in it. Like to me, the windows looked like they were frosted. You couldn't see people in it or anything. So the windows looked like your bathroom window, having frosty sort of thing. And we weren't that far away from it, really. Like if it had stopped where it was in midair, we would actually travel right underneath it because we were just about looking up under it just before we went under it, and then that's when it went. Yeah, so there you go. That's it.
That's absolutely amazing. Like it sort of makes you wonder, like you're saying, like what were they doing over there? If I know there's lots of theories behind it, like they could be doing like soil sampling or something that's in that area for whatever reasons. There's something of interest, and even like you're saying, they came out. It sounds like it was deliberately done to get your attention as they left.
Yeah, to me. Yeah, I think they thought, oh, let's give these folks a bit of a Friday. Come on, start her up now. Off we go. Yep, up, right, bang, gone. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
That's what they're thinking, But the other thing is too, like, why would you pull up right near the highway? Like, no one would have known it was there because it was dark. Well, what were they doing? Like, were they pinching? They could have been pinching little calves or cattle or something. They could have been there for a rest break. And because we're like then an hour or so away from sunrise, they decided, okay, time to go. And,
for some reason, part of me is thinking because it's that sort of area there could have been on for some magic mushies. But,
yeah. Well, that's what people watch this. Like, oh, Mullumbimby, we know what he was on. Yeah, sure. No, that shit.
But yeah, look, it just still does make you wonder. It's just what is going on. Like, so when you look at the craft, was it cylindrical, or was it like a bit more of a defined shape to it?
No, it was the shape of that, pointed at the front and round at the back. Like, I think, so that there, what I showed you, that drawing, that was, I think, looking at the side of the thing. So I think if you spun the thing around, it'd be probably like a wedge, like a pizza wedge, So we're looking at the side, and I think if it turned around, you'd have a point facing to you and branch out at the back.
Yeah, okay. So I'm sort of like getting maybe like the Millennium Falcon kind of shape, you think, like from Star Wars?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. Okay, that's interesting because a lot of people sort of claim like cylindrical sort of shapes, or it's always the tic tacky kind of shape, or there's a lot of different shapes. Like just I don't know. And are they different races of these species, or
I don't know.
What these beings are? What's
the funny thing?
New design technology.
Yeah, a couple of things. Like I thought, well, obviously green means go to them as well, because as soon as it went green, they were gone. That little light. So it was white, which I suppose it meant neutral. Red must have meant ready to go, and green, as soon as that went green, bang.
Yeah, it's interesting. It sort of makes you wonder why the light, though. Why does it need to present that light to show you guys? Or if it might be a universal thing for other potential crafts in the area going, hey, we're about to go and take off or something.
Don't know. If it would have been interesting at the time, I guess, to that next day get down there on the ground where that was sitting and just see if there was anything around there, or where it was, see if there's any marks or whatever on the ground or anything like that.
Yeah, that would have been interesting if there was anything there of that sort of nature, because people have reported where there's crafts have sat, or they've been seen some sort of strange lights. There has been markings there in the grass or the area around it has the grass has been depressed or something like, you know.
Or whether the guy was missing any cattle or anything.
Yeah, well, that's another thing too. So there's nothing in the in the reports because I think social media being pretty big back around then as well. Like,
Well,
it was still up
you
there,
know,
but
I sort of looked a bit around, like just in just I was thinking, where would I report it to? I couldn't sort of work out who to. I didn't really want to tell. I tell people. I tell friends and family and friends. I've told them all. I don't stop talking about it, you know. But yeah, I didn't know who to contact or anything like that. And I was just the other day I was looking on Facebook and I come across your thing. I thought, oh, maybe I might tell these guys and see what they say about it. You know, as you say, someone else may have had some similar type thing.
yeah, look, someone could potentially seen it. Like, you just don't know who's going to be around. Like, someone, even though it could have been like a kilometer away, could have seen the actual
Yeah,
light still go up and seen it
yeah.
disappear and whatnot.
And then I wonder too whether any truckies see stuff like that when they're driving along. Well, I mean, who knows if they don't go back there every now and again to that spot? Like if they did, you'd never know. A truckie could see stuff, but they probably wouldn't report it because they'd probably lose their job. You know,
Yeah, well,
people.
that's the thing. That's the big thing, isn't it? Like, when you sort of bring in this topic into the light, people do sort of back off a little bit and go, well, yeah, right, this person's sort of a bit crazy or whatnot. So
Yeah,
hence why people are so reluctant to sort of talk about it.
that's right.
And
Yeah,
even go for with truckies, like, you know, they are our bread and butter, literally on in Australia's roads.
yeah,
And you know, they go and talk about this sort of stuff. They sort of mentions like sort of questions their reliability on the roads. You know, are they on drugs or are
that's right. Yeah,
they seeing things or
no,
whatever with
yeah,
their mentality?
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And that's not to say, like, you know, there's got to be some sort of condition they're going for people to see these things.
Hmm.
But it's just always raises the question for, you know, people who want to question this sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's
And
fair enough. You know, I mean, if I hadn't had that experience, and the red ball one was a separate type of thing, but if I hadn't had this experience, if someone told me, I'd probably, you know, I'd believe them if they're a believable person. But once you actually see it, you think, you know what? Look at that. There's your absolute proof that something weird's going on there. It's not just a light; it's a machine. It's up there. It's who knows how it's going up and down. How does it disappear? It's either gone invisible, or it's slipped into another dimension, or it's shot off at the speed of light. So there's three options.
yeah. So did you happen to take notes at the time of this when this happened as well? Like, if
Well, it
like
was
any
about
missing time on that one as well, or
this
at
one here
all?
was about 4:15 a.m. It was roughly.
Yep. And didn't take notes of like if it was missing time accountable on that one?
Well, we went to work, and you know, no, we
Yeah,
went to
seemed pretty
work,
all right.
and yeah, just got there. And we didn't when it happened. We didn't sort of think, oh, that was a flying saucer. I mean, we're just so perplexed, going, what was that? And just driving along, just sort of thinking what we saw. And by the time I got to the school, I sort of said, you know what? I think that was a UFO. Because what else would it have been? What else was it? There was nothing. You know, it's crazy to think what that was. It was just some big machine, and that's what it did. You know.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, like, what was the atmosphere in the car like? You know, because like you guys would have been
Well, we're
buzzing for
just
sure.
yeah, well, just astounded, astonished, and sort of trying to work out what was that, and really just thinking, oh, what that was. I don't know. You know, crazy.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing too. It is all crazy. Like
Mm,
it's because it defies everything that we know of this whole topic in general. Like, even just life itself is just crazy. It's
yeah.
makes you wonder.
Yeah.
So over all these years, like after you have a couple experiences there, like what are your thoughts over the whole topic in general?
Oh, just yeah. Well, we're just getting visited, and I mean, I think myself, it's probably by there's that many. You look at how many galaxies and stars and all that stuff there is out there. There's got to be different races with different machines and stuff, and you know the old you can't go faster than light and all that. Well, you know what Captain Cook, if you told him you could fly from here to England in 24 hours, he'd go, that's ridiculous. How can you get a ship to go that fast? So, and they, you know, so obviously they're slipstreaming into black holes or doing something weird, and they've got these machines that can just defy gravity and inertia and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, they're probably millions of years advanced on what we are. We've only been technological, techno, technological for what, a couple of 100 years or so. Before that, we had spears and stuff. So
that's right. It's amazing how fast we've just boomed in the technological side.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I sort of bring it up quite often. Like, they say like humans are, several thousands of years old or whatever, like wherever the number is, and yet all that time we were throwing sticks and rocks and spears and whatnot. But yet all of a sudden in the last 200-300 years, we just boomed in technology.
Correct. Yeah.
And it's like, well, what happened in that window beforehand? Like, how can they just be like, we're so plain and basic in survival mode, and to suddenly just, bam.
Yeah.
Now we're doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, how and why? Like, was it introduced into us to go and sort of guide us along to get to this where we are today?
Yeah.
Or is it something on our own that we've sort of worked out? Like, so it just happened to be some sort of smart guy, or worked it all out and boomed from there.
Yeah.
What's happened throughout our history to get to this point? It's mind-boggling when you think about it.
It is, yeah, that's for sure.
And then obviously, we've got these other advanced crafts defying all our known logic and capabilities, and yet we're still going, what are these things? Why can't we?
Yeah, well, like the governments are hiding it. Like that, these guys are these Tic Tacs and stuff. Like you see the images we see, and they're all like shady, fuzzy-looking radar images, and yet these pilots, they took megapixel type photos and cameras and stuff of these things, and they won't release them. Like, and they've seen stuff like craft. They've seen the rivets. Some had rivets. Some guys have seen like a square with a sphere inside it, floating around up there and flown past it and nearly hit it and all this sort of stuff. Like, but you never see proper clear photos of them because they won't release them.
No, and that's the frustrating part. Like, okay, yeah, it's good that particularly the US government, they are admitting to the existence of what they want to call UAPs, but still they don't want to go and release anything that's of credible sort of nature to us to go and say, look, this is what we are seeing out here.
Yeah.
Just because of their own national security bullshit that they want to go and scream on about. But it's like, it's not just a national security; it's a worldwide security. You got to let everyone know what is actually out there that we need to sort of keep an eye for. Like, they want to class it as a bit of a aerial threat because for commercial planes and such and whatnot. But even still, the public sort of they have a right to know. We might go in a bit of a panic, but we'll get over it. Like we're pretty adaptable. I think COVID pretty much proved that.
For sure.
We made our way through.
Yeah.
So why can't they go and tell us the truth of what is actually really out there? Even they just drip feed it a bit more quicker than what they're doing. Instead of having this all, this guy's saying this, but we're not going to show you what it is because we have this full high def imagery or footage, but we can't show you because it's going to show what we are capable of in our own defenses.
I think that's right. Yeah.
So, I know it's strange. It's frustrating sort of topic when it comes to trying to figure out what the hell is going on in today's world with it in regards to that. But it's, I don't know, what can you do?
Not much.
No, it's a shame, really. And so, like, when it comes to like your sightings there, like, do you think these were extraterrestrial beings, or do you think they could have been potentially our own technology that's been hidden away?
It's not our own, definitely not. I mean, if someone had a craft like this thing, you wouldn't have to worry about if the Yanks had it. They wouldn't be worrying about China or Russia or anything. Like, they'd be. I mean, where did this thing go? Did it go? Because if it went just that speed, it was the speed of light, just like you turn the light on and turn the light off. So it was either that, or somehow it slipped into some other dimension which we can't see. Because it was there and then it was gone. It didn't go somewhere. It was just there, then not there. And it's not like actually. Sometimes I wish it had have actually took off up into the sky, but it didn't. Just disappeared. Bang. So strange.
Either way, like even if it didn't zip away, it's still something that defied our capabilities from what you're explaining. This is
definitely
an object with a non-aerodynamical sort of craft in nature. It's well, I don't know, could have possibly like been the shape like a blimp kind of thing, maybe like the point. I don't know. That's just I'm trying to give like a bit of a general shape.
Yeah, no, it was just just like a cigar, I guess, with a pointed front, pointed tip. And why would it show those three lights, white, green, and red, white, red, and green? And why would it park right up next to the trees behind the barbed wire fence? So I mean, they could, when the lights were off and the thing, they could be out there wandering around looking at cars and trucks going past on the road, and none would even know. You wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't see them. And as you say, I mean, I reckon they got a sense of humour. Why else would they start it up when we're coming along? We're the only car. They could have just wait because they know we were there. Let's wait till that thing goes, then we'll go. No, let's go over the top and sit on top for a couple of seconds, then we'll go and laugh at it.
Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely mind-boggling when because I'm quite jealous and envious myself, because I'd love to see something of that.
Oh, sure.
Something where it's a solid proof. Like I've had my own couple of experiences there, and it's always been just like a light in the sky, and it's just something that didn't make sense to me. But seeing it, a physical craft, that's I think everyone wants to see something.
I wish I had a dash cam. I bloody wish I had one. That would have been the classic proof, I reckon.
Yeah, it's unfortunate too. Like with cameras and that, like as much as we rely on them, they still won't give us the clear evidence that we want from a public aspect of things. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I bet you, like 9 out of 10, that camera would not have been working at the time you want to try and capture that thing.
Probably,
if it was potentially if you did have a dash cam. Because every time someone tries to capture a UFO, it's either fuzzy or it doesn't show up, or the camera bugs out. It's frustrating. Like we could be with the amount of people who got cameras in their pockets these days, and we still can't get a clean, genuine like UFO or craft or something.
Got to happen sooner or later. You think it's got to happen sooner or later, hasn't it? Like everyone's got a phone with a camera now, so
yeah. And like cameras are getting better, and surely there is still a lot of misidentifications out there, but there's still got to be that something out there that someone's going to have that chance to go, yep, we finally got one. But then again, someone's going to say, nah, it's fake, it's CGI or something like
that. Oh yeah, well, that's right. I mean, people say about this too, but I don't really care. We know what we saw.
Yeah.
No,
look, it's absolutely amazing. I kind of think of this like, wow, just like the whole experience itself, just seeing something so amazing. It's just it's a buzz myself just listening to you talk about it. I'm buzzing up about
it. Another thing too, I wish it had went for longer because when it first turned on in the paddock there, we just saw it was a house, but I thought that's strange, didn't know it was a house there. This is probably all within I don't know, maybe a minute, because you're driving along and it's on up to the left behind the trees. So just said light on the house. Oh, there's a house there, okay, right. And I thought, what they turn their lights on this early for? Yeah. And then all of a sudden up she goes and up over the thing and hovered there above, and we were going to go under it, and we were going, what the hell, And you just think, what? Well, you don't know. You just think, what the hell is that? But you could see it was a craft, definitely. It wasn't smoke. It wasn't fog. What do you call it? It's that stuff they used to say.
Yeah, gas. Yeah.
On gas. I wasn't swamped. There's no water there, actually. I go past that a lot of times, even though I'm not working there anymore. Every now and again, I go up to Goldie, and I'm always looking at that spot. I'm looking through, trying to see if there's anything there. Is there anything I can sort of see what they'd be there for or whatever? But nothing, just paddock.
Yeah, and so you never pulled up there any time that it sort of try a bit of a look?
No, because that little spot there, well, it's a highway there, but you can't really pull off the road too easy there because it's not a nice big flat patch you can just pull off and walk out. It's sort of got a bit of a ditch and long grass and stuff. So no, never pulled up there. Sort of slowed down a bit there when there's nothing behind me and tried to have a good look and that, but can't see anything. And you can't even really tell which property's got who owns that. Like from the houses, you can't really see any houses from the road. They stuck right back further, just to say, oh, they own the house. Maybe they'd know something. They own the land, but I don't even know if there is a house on that bit of land there. Not that I can see anyway.
No, that's fair enough. So, like with the your passengers in the car, like, have they experienced anything else? Like, because obviously the topic of the UFOs would have been there at the time. Like, you've been buzzing from that. Like, did they mention if they had other experiences in the past as well at all?
No, my sister hasn't. No, not really. And the other guy, a couple of weeks later, he told me, because he used to wait for us up on the hill. So we'd travel from Ballina. He was from Lennox, and he'd park his car up on the hill there from Lennox, and we'd pick him up on the way to save taking 2 cars all the way. And he told me once that while he was parked there waiting for us, he saw an orange. Well, I didn't really take a lot of notice at the time, but he saw some sort of an orange ball or something, not red, but an orange one further north up the coast up there when he was just sitting there in his car. And it's sort of some sort of weird manoeuvre, and off it went. And so I didn't, it was a fair way away from him and all that. So I didn't really, he's never told me anything else that he's seen or whatever. So that was a bit.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. So with your regards to your sightings, has there been a bit of a history with your family seeing things at all, like parents or all that?
No, nothing really.
That's okay. I'm just trying to get a bit of an idea, because usually sometimes it could be a bit of a history with family members if they're lucky enough to go and see into the spectrum of these unknown universe.
Not that I can sort of recall with that. No,
that's fair enough. No, look, mate, it's absolutely amazing experience, and I think everyone would be dying to join. Well, hopefully not dying to go and see one, but really see something like this of that nature.
Yeah. Oh well, I never thought I'd ever see something as clear and as close and all that as this thing. You'd hear reports and people. I was over there. It was a flying saucer. I was down on the ground. I used to think, oh, geez, I wish I could see something like that. And there you go. I finally did when I wasn't really did not expect it at all.
Yeah. Do you sort of feel like there would have been someone at the windows there watching you guys as you went underneath them?
They would have known definitely we were there. I mean, why would they've got a craft that advanced? They'd have to know like radar or whatever it is at some, because they've picked the moment when there's only one car on the road. I mean, they could have took off when there's 3 trucks or something on the road, Then you would have a whole heap of people looking at it. So whether they didn't know we were coming along and thought no one was there, or whether they just thought they'd play a trick on us. But so we didn't see anyone at all. All we saw was the lights turn on, the craft go up, the flashing lights at the front, and then gone. And the outline of the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, other people I talk to as well, like they usually say, they want us to see them, but they're doing it in their own way instead of just rocking up in our front door and saying, "G'day, we are here." They're just, for whatever reasons, they're just doing the whole, I don't know, sight and flight. I wanted to call it. I just came up with that. Sight and flight. I think that's the best way to sort of describe it.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Why can't they just come in and just go, "Hey, look, we are here." Why all the secrecy?
That's right. Yeah.
And apparently, throughout the thousands of years of our civilizations, they've always been mentioning of these weird beings. There's always some sort of interaction there with something of these, whatever you want to call them, extraterrestrials or what.
Yep.
But so why all of a sudden in this current day and age that it's all secret when it's proven in our history that we've had an interaction?
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts on your end from that, from that concept?
Oh, I've always sort of had an open mind on it. I've never ever thought, oh no, that's not right, because of all the different reports you've heard, and pilots and people, police and stuff. A lot of it you sort of think, well, they seem pretty credible, and other witnesses have what do you call it? Agreed to they've seen that thing at the time or whatever like that, and who knows, someone around that area might have seen something like what I've seen a previous night, or maybe, well, they didn't see it when I was there, but maybe they saw it. Maybe someone saw it come down. Who knows when it landed? Maybe it landed midnight and someone might have seen it drop down then.
Yeah, it's quite possible, and that's where I was hoping, when you mentioned the times and dates and that, where someone could have gone, yeah, look, a bit of a jolt of memory and potentially seen it, because I've had it before where people have seen something, they reported it, and next minute, like maybe 5 minutes later, I've had someone else hit us up and go, "Hey, look, I've just seen this come through and
Yeah, right.
come from this direction." And next minute, the third person's come along and seen the same thing. It's like, you'll get out. This thing is like,
Yeah,
that was a mind blowing sort of
yeah,
encounter there, because like, having multiple witnesses of the same thing cruising past in the same amount of time, that's like incredible from my perspective. Anyway, it's this is like, wow, and like it's going traveling a distance that it shouldn't have been capable of doing with our technology, basically.
yeah,
So whatever this thing was, it's absolutely amazing. So the potential of someone seeing what you have seen
yeah,
before, it's highly likely someone's seen it, hopefully in the same time, or they've seen it somewhere else,
yeah.
something
Oh,
similar.
will you let me know if you hear of something like to do with that one?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. There's no worries at all. I'll definitely get in touch because yeah,
Just send me a message that someone else has sort of seen the same sort of thing in the same area.
yeah, or even if somewhere else potentially, because but
Mm.
even like trying to get an idea of the actual craft's shape
Yeah.
seems quite
Well, there it
unique
is
at
there
this
again.
point.
That's it there. Can you see
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
Not a real good drawing. It wasn't all bumpy looking like that and everything.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's my freehand. Anyway,
Yep, and it's probably more like a disc shape, you reckon, from behind, like
I reckon
going
like a
around it.
pizza wedge. Yeah, round at the back, I reckon.
Yep.
That was round. See how it's gone round, that round there at the back there?
Yep.
That was round. That was pointed at the front. And the windows along there, they're probably not in proportion, those windows. I don't think they were that big, but they were windows and they were lit up, but you couldn't see inside them. So to me, they look frosted. Yeah.
Yep. So what was the color of the craft compared to the windows then?
Well, the windows were, as I say, they were lit, and the colour of the craft you couldn't. Well, you could just see it was like metallic grey. It was
Okay.
like dark grey, basically.
Yep, and so obviously the light from behind is probably a bit of a light grey from the windows, like to sort of give them
It's
that
just
front window look.
it just all seemed to be dark grey, the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. The windows didn't seem to light up the craft at all. They just lit up. The windows were lit, but the craft itself, it was lit enough to see the outline of the thing because you could see how big it was. But there was no like bright colour except for the thing on the end. No, you couldn't see. All you could see was a dark craft and see how big it is. And you thought, shit, that thing is huge.
So how big do you think it actually was in comparison?
Big as a house, that thing. Really
Big
big.
as a house.
Yeah.
Oh, you did mention that. Yeah. So yeah, that's a
It was a
decent
big thing.
sized craft.
It wasn't little. It was huge.
Yeah. That's absolutely incredible. I still want to go and see one of these things. Like, it's got to be
Yeah.
one day. Like I've got to see one for myself.
Have to do. I wouldn't mind seeing another one, actually.
Yeah, it sort of gives you that bit of a bug, doesn't it? Like he's like, oh, you see the initial one, and you go, wow, okay, that was incredible, and then you're still never satisfied after that. You still want another
Exactly.
hit from it, Give us that extra buzz again.
Yeah, really do. Yep.
That's actually incredible. Well, mate, if you got anything more to add to this at all, like what your thoughts are on the whole concept?
No, I'm just glad to sort of tell someone else about it, and now with you, put it out there a bit now, So, because as I say, I've told family and friends, and you don't know how far that goes, but with you, with it going through you there, maybe quite a few more people will sort of hear of it, and we'll just see if if anyone happens to have seen a similar craft or something around that particular area there, or just something that was sort of sheds a bit of light on this. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, no, look, mate, it's like I can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing this, mate, because you and other guests on the show and everyone else that's sort of share their experience openly, mate. It's absolutely wonderful for even coming forward in general to speak about it, because obviously the whole stigma attached to this whole thing can be quite scary, I should say.
Yeah, well, don't worry me much. I'm retired, so people can say what they like. I don't give a rat's ass really. I know what we saw, and I'm glad we did see it, and just see what happens with if anyone else has seen something like that.
Yeah, no, mate. Look, I can't thank you enough, mate. So it's been absolutely wonderful having you on, mate. And look, I'll look forward to hopefully getting in touch with you soon and figuring out if someone has actually seen one as well, same thing, or in the same area.
Very good, mate. Thank you.
No, mate. Thank you again, mate. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Cheers, mate. Yeah. And that will do it, folks, for this episode of Encounters Down Under. I hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, you can also get involved in the show by joining the Facebook page and getting in on the live streams. Also, please be sure to share with your friends and family to help us grow and potentially find our next guest on the show. If you or you know someone who has had an encounter, please get in touch with me through our Facebook page via Messenger or email at australianUFOsightings@outlook.com.au. I look forward to seeing you on the next Encounter Down Under. Hooroo!